excited to be here. And as the name goes, Zestpreneurs is a community for enthusiastic and energetic business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders. And is a place to connect and network with like-minded business owners and entrepreneurs. And if you have the passion for success and desire to help others, you must join this group. And this is a place to ask for help, share resources, help in promoting each other's services, and build relationships. And welcome to this business brewing series on this group. So this is a new series that we have started, and it's going to be on every Friday. So we have this series called as Business Brewing at 12 noon every Friday, where we'll be sharing some amazing topics on business success. And every alternate week, we will be inviting two guest speakers. Okay, and today we have Keshava as our speaker here. So these speakers will be sharing their expertise on different topics which will help you business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders on this group. So we are trying to get the best out here. So stay tuned every Friday at 12 noon for these shots of strong business anecdotes, right? So hi, and if we have never met before, I know there are many people on the group and quite a few may not know me, but let me give a short introduction about me. I'm Tejaswini Prasad. I am a business strategist, transformation expert, and author of 10 Secrets to Enrich Your Entrepreneurial Journey. And as a transformation expert, I help business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals to build a business or a career and a life they love. So moving to our guest, this week we have HB Keshava with us on the Business Brewing series. And welcome Keshava. Nice to see you here. And Keshava is an IPR, company law and cyber law expert. So let's welcome him. And yes, this group is pretty new, Keshava. So we have new members. They are still trying to figure out what all this is about. And I'm sure they're going to be watching this a little later. So let me introduce you. Advocate HB Keshava is an alumni of the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun, and is a master in law from the ILS Law College. So he's also a BSc in neuropsychology and has multiple diplomas in his name. So high number of degrees. So, we are just saying multiple because there is so much that, I'd spend another 2 minutes talking about his degrees here, right? So Keshava is actually the founder and the managing attorney of Bhaskaran and Associates. It's a law firm that specializes in different areas of law. Okay. And Bhaskaran and Associates is a well-known firm for startup legal advisories in the field of IPR, company laws, and cyber laws. I think this is something so important when the world is going online. Keshava, I think your role is really, really important when it comes to cyber laws and so many other things, right? And Advocate Keshava has many international publications and has been a part of many conferences and seminars. And he is also visiting faculty at many colleges and institutes all across India. That's great, Keshava. That's nice to know. And a little bit on his personal side, he's a biker, he's a horse rider, and a traveler, which fetches him this name. So he's titled himself the Traveling Vakil. I like that, Keshava. That's really nice. So let's hear from the Traveling Vakil. What is it that he wants to share as his expertise today? So Keshava, we are really, really excited to have you here and really looking forward to, know more about you. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the audience waiting to listen to what you have to say. So let's begin. And Keshava, I would just want to know a little bit about your journey as a IPR and cyber law and company law expert.
So, the whole journey began back in college. I mean, I have to give a lot of credit. I mean, we all go through that one phase that we don't know exactly what we want. But there is either an accident or there is this one human being who always makes that difference. So for me, it was my roommate. So I was just thinking of writing a research paper. I was clueless about how to go about it. And then he just suggested, why don't you consider intellectual property? And I was connected to intellectual property immediately because I come from a family which is which has a very strong cultural background. So we are into
Mhm.
the fine arts. And copyrights is where I started getting attracted. Then slowly I went into stuff like geographical indicators, trademarks. And it was like, I wouldn't call it love at first sight, but it was a love which slowly brewed. It was like a perfectly brewed coffee. So that's how it began. And the journey began with my internships, working with some very big bodies like Reebok, Adidas, and slowly venturing into the industry where I got to experience and got a feel of different industries, because that's the beauty about intellectual property, that you
Mhm.
get to understand, see, feel, use the innovation in every single industry. Like for example, you are a business coach, you are a life coach. So I got a chance to work with you in your industry, and I never knew what was business coaching till I like got a chance to work with you. I mean, Tejaswini in particular. So like that, I got a chance to work with so many different industries, beautiful industries, pharmaceutical, beverages, food, apparels. I mean, I have zero fashion sense, but then of lately people have started saying that you're better in fashion because of the fact, and I would give that credit to the client who got me into it. So that's how the journey began. I had the beautiful opportunity of working with some very good advocates, stalwarts, and I got a good amount of guidance from my family, that is my parents, of course, like who always motivated me. And special thanks to my gurus in intellectual property. So that is how we grew as like I grew as a youngster, and today we are a proud team of more than 10 people. We are established all across the country, and we have established a law firm, and today we have worked on high profile matters. Like we have had some amazing collaborations. People chose to trust us, and that's the most important part of the journey. And the beauty about IPR, why I love this as a subject, why I love cyber law as a subject, is unlike few other areas of law, this is one area where you get to learn something new or get an information about something new every single minute. I'm not
Mhm.
even saying every single day or every single year, it's every single minute. You get to learn something totally new, totally exciting. I mean, like stuff like how to get renewable energy from sand. Now, such innovations, when they come in front of you, you actually start wondering. Like, I knew about Apple coming out with their patents even before the products hit the market. So, you are excited that, okay, now something amazing is going to come into the market. So, like
That's
that, IPR gives the opportunity to learn. And I think that's how the journey began, and
That's
that's
how
how the
the
journey
journey
is.
started. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's nice. So, you know what? For businesses, I'm sure, entrepreneurs or business owners know why IPR is important. Like, if you're there, you need to have this IPR. But can you tell our audience more about why IPR? Why do you really need to do it?
Now, there is this particular saying in our life, the saying is a very, it's a straightforward saying that life is full of ideas,
Mhm.
okay? And the ideas that come out of a human mind, that comes out of an intellect of a human being, is what you call as an intellectual property. Okay. So what I think of, let's say that if I've thought of the name Bhaskaran and Associates as the name of my law firm, you have thought
Mhm.
about Zest Transformation as a name of your organization. So this came out of our intellect. We envisaged something, we imagined something, we thought of something, and that is creativity. But we unfortunately live in a world where a lot of people try to replicate somebody's creativity and claim it as their own. So that is the reason why intellectual property is like the most important entity. Like if I just have to take Zest Transformation for an example, if that's okay with you. Like
That's
today Zest
okay.
Transformation is doing such an amazing work. Like you are on a mission to help so many women out there. You are on a mission to help women like realize their potential and abilities and come out. But imagine if somebody sitting in another part of the world literally is has created the name Zest and is using the name of Tejaswini Prasad. That would be very unfair to you. That is what we call as passing off. And many people think that "Nahi, our brand is so unique, nobody will try to replicate. But we live in a country where we have Albeli, where we have Adibas, where we have Ray and Banerjee, which are rip-offs of the original brand. So why wouldn't somebody try to, play? And that's where IPR comes in. The law was originally created to stop Control C, Control V. in a student's layman language. That is stopping copy pasting somebody else's work. Like we have seen so many movies being recreated, so many songs being rewritten, and people claiming it as their own. And the original writers, script writers, songwriters, they have not got credit. In many cases, there are cases in Bollywood, Collywood, Hollywood, in all these places we have seen such cases. Then there are times when people have come out with inventions, exciting inventions, amazing inventions, but somebody viewed it, had the money power, and they just recreated the entire invention. And the original creator got nothing out of it. A gentleman or a lady who has put in their heart and soul to create something, they lose it in just one night because somebody else who had that one money power was able to recreate it. Same goes with brand names. So many people have recreated the brand names of people who originally started small and they have made lots and lots of money. Imagine what would have been going through the mind of the original creator, the novel creator, as we call it.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
absolutely. It's quite disturbing. Yeah.
so that is exactly why you need intellectual property to safeguard your brand name, your brand logo, your brand motive, your the product that comes out of your brand, the design that comes out of your brand, the strategy that comes out of your brand, a trade secret maybe. So these factors have to be protected. Let it be a startup or let it be a multinational company. If you are not protecting your intellectual property, then it is as bad as not protecting your own name. Like tomorrow, anybody can walk into the market and say that I am HB Keshava, the advocate of Bhaskaran Associates. And if I do not safeguard the name HB Keshava or Bhaskaran Associates, anybody can start ripping it off and start using it. Just to quote a small case, there is a second venture that we are working on. We had started working on it about few months ago. So I'm not going to talk about the venture, but when we had started working, it caught a lot of attention. A lot of people respected. During the COVID time, it became one of the most sought after venture. But unfortunately, I mean, just take the name of the venture. It is called as Exordium. Unfortunately, we were faced off with a challenge where we started receiving posts on Instagram with another organization by the name of Exordium who was doing the same thing. And the immediate step that we took was we filed our trademark and we had to stop that organization because they were gaining reputation using our name. They were gaining
That quite
reputation.
happens. Yeah.
So they were gaining reputation on the work of what our people had done. So that is the reason why, like, trademarks, copyrights, patents have to be safeguarded, and intellectual property is the most, I literally believe that it is the most important entity for any organization, let it be small, medium, large. So
True.
that's why I mean, I just put it in a layman's term over here. I didn't
True.
want to
I
go
think
into.
we need a layman's term because we need people to understand why it is important, right? So you talked
Mhm,
about trademarks and so many other things right now, right? Can you just
mhm,
throw some light on what are the different types of IPRs,
mhm. So let me go with the basics. I mean, we have trademarks. So trademark is basically like if it's okay with you, I'll take the example of Zest again. So
Yeah.
Zest transformation, the word, the name, the terminology, the spelling of Zest transformation is a trademark because you're going to use it in your contracts, you're going to use it in your assignments, you're going to display the name wherever you go. The logo of this transformation, it has a shape, it has a color, it has a certain font, it has a certain ring to it. So people like human psychology, this is where my BSc in psychology comes into play. Human psychology works in a manner where you look at a color and you identify the brand. For
True.
example, if I say blue and red for a beverage, everyone knows that it is Pepsi. If somebody says red and white for a beverage, everyone knows it's Coca-Cola. So same way, if I'm looking at an orange combination with a tinge of red, with a tinge of white, I know it is just transformation in the business world. So trademarks are basically your name, your logo, the color combination in the logo, the shapes or the images that you use in a logo. And in today's date, trademark is even a sound. For example, ting 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 of Britannia, or the taste of the double cheese margarita of Domino's, or even the smell of a Costco ball, or smell of a certain product, smell of a Calvin Klein perfume, or even the motion mark. Like when you see Nokia has connecting people, that motion is there. You have your Samsung, where the Samsung logo appears on the phone or on the desktop,
Mm.
that one particular entrance of the logo and how it is portrayed, that is called as a motion mark, because that helps an individual identify the brand.
Mhm.
So the very law that protects the identification of a brand through visual or like any kind of an olfactory basis, that is through sound or smell or taste or sight, that is called as a trademark. Okay, so Zest Transformations logo name, that is what you call as a trademark. If you don't know, you can always check out Zest Transformations website and you would know about it. Okay, and now coming to copyrights. Now some of us are writers. Like I used to write a lot of poetry back in college. I have written a lot of articles and research papers. I have a lot of publications. And one day it so happened that I was teaching at a university. I had gone for a lecture. I was teaching my students, and a student was presenting on a topic. For me, it was like, I have heard this topic somewhere. I know this topic very well. The wordings are so similar.
Mm.
And within just 5 minutes of the presentation, I realized that the student, I mean, I asked the student, did you write this paper? She said, yes, sir, I wrote this research paper. I was like, are you sure? She said, absolutely. I pulled out a research paper, showed it in front of her, and I asked her, is this the paper that you referred from? She started sweating. I laughed it out because it was my own research paper that she was using. She just didn't know that I was the author.
Yeah.
So this is what you call as a copyright infringement, because the research paper was my copyright. And it's not just for research paper. Some of you would be excellent cooks out there. So you would have some amazing recipes. Your recipes are a copyright. Some of you would be amazing painters. You would like doodling. You would like drawing. So what you have redrawn, maybe like some mandalas or maybe certain patterns, maybe you are a logo designer, maybe you are a painter. So all those factors, those entities that you're creating, that is your creativity. Like I know this friend of mine, she makes some amazing mandalas, like she has some beautiful patterns, and always a hats off to her because she's a very special person when it comes to arts. So I always believe that her work is her copyright. Nobody should use her copyright and try to make money out of it, not sell it as their own. So
Yeah.
another kind of a thing is that we are some of us write songs, some of us compose music. So music and songs are a copyright. We need to protect it. Why? Because if we don't protect it, somebody might just hear it and somebody might just recreate it. Which I don't want to take names, but a lot of famous people are doing it right now. They're
Yeah. I
using
mean,
songs
that's
and they are making rap music. Okay,
yeah.
and the best part about India is that softwares can be copyrighted. So if you have an application like an Android application or a like iOS application or an application created on Ubuntu or an application created for Windows, a software created for Apple or Windows, or even the code behind your website, they all are copyrighted in India. Unlike other countries patent it while India copyrights it. Why? Because softwares fall under a language. Okay, so
Okay.
copyright can do some amazing stuff. Like probably, maybe if Tejaswini would love to give me some business, she can very well her entire business strategy or business model. We could copyright that. We could turn it into protected intellectual property for her. So that's what you all business owners can definitely do that. Okay, so the last bit, yes,
So
sorry, Tejaswini, you have
we
a
were
question.
talking about patent and copyright. So just want to know what is the difference between these two? What is subtly to be looked at when a person is patenting something or wants to copyright something?
Okay, I'll make it very simple. So I'm holding a mobile phone. The invention behind the mobile phone, the invention, the entire circuit behind it, inside it, how it works, the screen, it is a patent. It is an invention. Okay, so if I have a medicine's composition, the formula used to create the medicine or to create a certain chemical, that is a patent. But copyright majorly looks at artistic work and novel work, which completely comes on a different field altogether. It doesn't go into the science or mechanicals, or it doesn't go into the technicality behind a product, but it goes behind the technicality of of a certain creativity. So copyrights falls under a completely different family. Like if patent is the big bully of a brother, copyright is the sweet young sister. That's what we say in intellectual property. And trademark is the father of all.
So if somebody has to say that, I have done some innovative writing,
Mm.
How does that, so what I understand in the layman perspective again is like anything innovative or something that has a formula or something gets into the patent, and
Mm.
copyright is more to do with, just protecting that. So what if somebody has to say, I have some innovative writing that I have done, where does that really fall?
So if somebody says that I have done an innovative writing or a creative writing, that will purely fall under copyrights. For example, a lot of people have innovative writing or content on their websites. Okay, so what content or beauty you have on your website, the wordings that you use, the style of wordings that you use, the way you have expressed it, they all will be copyright. Okay.
Okay.
But if you're selling a product on your website and you're describing the website, the words will be copyrighted while the product, let's say it's a machinery or a medicine or it's a formulation, that would be patented completely.
Okay.
So that is how the difference is established.
Okay. What about the people who are into designing, a particular thing? Like I understand writing. Now, if how does that work? How about the people who design certain things? Do they really need to protect their designs, or how does that work?
Now, there are two ways of protecting a design. Now, if trademarks, copyrights, and patents are the front runners for intellectual property, there are few other allied laws or sister laws, as we call them, that follow trademarks, copyrights, and patents. One of them is the Indian Designs Act. I'll repeat myself, it is the Indian Designs Act. So they are into the protection of shape of goods. Okay. For example, if I have a bottle, now this is a Milton bottle. Okay. Now this was given to me by a very good friend, and I actually researched upon it. This shape, this structure is protected. It is completely protected. Why it won't fall under patents? It cannot fully fall under copyrights, but the structure behind the bottle is protected under the Designs Act because we're talking about the shape of goods. Okay,
Okay.
so let's say that Tejaswini ji, I just noticed that there is a very nice hammock behind you. Okay, the shape of that hammock can be protected under the Indian Designs Act. That is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is if it is just a diagram, you've just drawn it, but the product does not exist, it falls under a drawing or an artistic work. So that design can be copyrighted. That image, that drawing can be copyrighted. So that is how we look at Designs Act also. But in India, usually people go for a patent mostly. But when it comes to the Indian Designs Act, it is still a law which is growing. And eventually a point is going to come where the designs will be as important as that of copyrights and patents.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a completely different thing that you explained. Copyright is different, patent is different, and the Designing Act is coming with completely a different thing. Okay. I think, yes, it's good to know. I'm sure people who are into designing are really going to get a little insight from what you talked about. Uh, Keshava, we have a lot of people who are startups here, or who are, in fact, it's a trend. There are so many startups out there. How important it is for a startup to invest in IPR?
Okay. Now, usually a startups, I have noticed this is one mistake that they have made. Like you're a business coach, Tejaswini ji, so you can definitely correct me. Okay. So there are few startups I have noticed, not few, many startups I have noticed, they make this common mistake. They invest a lot on marketing. They invest a lot on branding. They invest a lot on creating the product altogether. They invest a lot on the company formation, but they have the mistake is they have literally at times zero investment on the intellectual property front. I'll tell you the reason why. People think that intellectual property you can take it for granted. Like once you've created, maybe marketed, once it catches a good amount of attention in the market, then maybe I will think of protecting it. People try to invest in that manner, which is one of the biggest mistakes. Because one of the startups I know very well, no, this was a very ugly case which we had to face because the startups, I remember them in tears. The owners were in tears when they were in the court. It was a matter which we had fought in the High Court of Bombay. So there what happened is the startup had created a very unique product and they had a brand name behind it. It was a very unique product. I don't want to take the name because the matter is still in progress. So when the product reached the market with the brand name, immediately a person with a little more money power, a little more political power, replicated the product, created the brand name, and I mean, that is literally copied the brand name. That brand name was trademarked, that product was patented, and they started selling the product in the market. And since they had a little more power on the investment front, they were able to even suppress the original creators. It's been
Okay.
5 years. The creators are still fighting that battle, and the court just asked them one question when they walked into the court. The only question that was asked was, why didn't you file a trademark? Why didn't you file a patent when this product arrived in the market? You spent so much on its marketing and branding, but you couldn't spare the right funds for it. And the second problem is that there are so many people on the online forum. Now, this is the most Indian thinking which I have always opposed. They think that trademarks, I mean, a lot of people unfortunately think that trademarks and patents are just pennies worth. I mean, you can just pay peanuts and you can get it done. Because a lot of people have cheated trademark owners, patent owners, copyright owners by doing their work in peanuts and in the end of the day, not really giving them the 100% protection that they deserve. Because of which people, I'm not exaggerating, but per month, over 1 lakh trademarks are lost. People lose the trademarks.
Interesting
Over,
stats. Interesting.
and over 1 lakh trademarks. And if I start on the stats on copyrights and patents, maybe our session can go up to even 2 or 3 o'clock. So it is
Sure.
that
But
bad.
tell me one thing, how expensive or how cheap is it to really invest in an IPR? I'm sure, startups, I work with a lot of startups and I know there are a lot of challenges that they go through and they're investing money in a lot of other things as well. So how expensive, how cheap, what is it like, to get an
Okay,
IPR?
this is a very funny term that my father always used to say. He always used to tell me, जितना चीनी डालोगे उतना मीठा रहेगा.
Mm.
Okay. The more you invest on anything, the more better quality you're going to get. And just to add on to this, when we fall sick, we have three options in hand. Option number one is try grandma's recipes, maybe we'll feel better. Option number two is maybe call up a doctor friend of ours, just ask him for free advice and go buy the medicine. And option number three is where we go to the doctor. The thing is, you can never negotiate with a doctor. If the doctor says the bill is going to come to 1 lakh, you have to pay because it is your health. Same way, when people make this mistake, they think that maybe through less investment I can get back more. It is a very wrong thinking in intellectual property. Intellectual property is economically viable if you are investing big in the beginning. Because if you are investing, if a very good advocate comes to you and says that the cost of your intellectual property service is going to be 100 rupees, and you may find another person who says, I'll do it for 10 rupees. I would say invest 100 rupees. You know the reason why? Today you invest 100 rupees, tomorrow you save 1 crore. But today you invest 10 rupees, you end up spending more than 10 crores. This problem happens with intellectual property because finding a quality intellectual property advisor or a guide or an advocate is very difficult in a country like India. You will find hundreds of IP advisors, but
Mm.
finding an IP expert is the most important thing. And like they say, if you're really good at something, never do it for free. So this service, if you're taking up on intellectual property, be prepared to spend on it as much as you would want to spend on your health. Because your company is an artificial human being, your business is an artificial human being. You would want it to breathe well, you want it to sound well, you want it to run well, you want it to live, you want it to live long, you want its
Yeah, so
identity.
Keshava, so is there a basic cost associated with it, or is there a particular range that people can look at? Because there are some people who might not have even thought about, copywriting or getting a trademark or whatever. So
See,
this idea,
range from business to business. Okay, the costs vary from business to business. Like for example, let me just take the example of Zest transformation. Okay, the entire task of protecting the brand name of Zest transformation would amount to a total sum of like 48,500. That would be the total sum which I would look at, which would include managing the portfolio of Zest transformation, the intellectual property portfolio. If there is a hearing, handling the hearing. If there is an objection from a third party or from the court, responding to those objections. Strategically drafting your trademark application in such a way that even if there is an objection or a hearing, the trademark is in a position to fight back and get itself registered. And within this cost, if you are referring to a good advocate or a good intellectual property advisor, the advantage you get is that your brand is protected for 10 years because somebody is there to handhold and scrutinize it for you all the time. So if there is another person trying to come into the market with the name of Zest Transformation, you have your bodyguard ready to protect you. That is just trademark. That is, I'm telling you the extreme cases. But the most basic investment you can start with to just protect the spelling of your trademark, it's enough if you spend 10,000 rupees. Okay, but make sure that you ask for advice. Just don't rush into filing. Ask for advice, because if you get the right advice, you will even know if your brand name has a chance to stand, because there's a saying, don't get emotionally attached to your brand. Okay, so if your brand name has to stand in the market, get the right advice. So you start at an investment of 10,000 rupees, but the more you want to build on your trademark, you want a logo, you want a motion mark, maybe later you want a copyright for the entire concept that you have created, or maybe after some time for the product you want a patent, then you should earmark anywhere close to 2 lakhs to 5 lakh rupees. But then, if that investment you're making it right now, you are actually creating a system to get that money back. Now, Tejaswini, you may ask me here as to what you getting
So
the
can
money
you,
back.
when you're talking about money back, what comes to my mind is, can you really claim for your IPR protection, maybe for your website or whatever you have ideally,
Okay.
taken up?
That is exactly where I said get your money back. How to get
Yeah,
your
that's
money back
because
is
in.
basically trademarks, copyrights, patents, and designs have one thing in common: franchising and licensing. Okay, so this transformation wants to franchise its brand to other states, other countries. People want to pick up the franchise. You create a royalty model. And since you are having protection under the trademark law in India, okay, so you can choose to give a value to your trademark through an IP portfolio management or an intellectual property evaluation, through which you can decide. Now, Tejaswini ji, just that I've been a little mischievous here. So, your brand name, the trademark alone of Zest Transformation, today's date is valued close to 2.5 CR. Just the name. This information I'm giving you. Just the
That's
brand
nice to
name.
know. That's really nice to know. And thanks for creating that trademark for me. Yeah,
So if you
interesting.
are franchising it outside, so you know what is the royalty you can earn upon it. So that is how you get your money back. So if you're investing 50,000 today, you can find a way to generate close to 5 lakhs per annum just by somebody using your brand name. And for copyright, if somebody wants to use the content of your research paper, content of your website, wants to use your software, wants to use the song that you have written, wants to use the video or movies that you have worked on, then you again get a certain royalty. The number of times the songs are played, you will be paid. If the song is performed live, you are paid. So today on the copyright, you're investing 25,000 to 50,000 or even 1 lakh, you're looking at getting back close to even 1 crore. That is what Sony T Series is doing right now. And last but not the least, patents. When you license out a patent, pharma companies make crores in just 1 month by licensing out the formulation behind their patents. So these licenses, manufacturing license, there is compulsory licensing or voluntary licensing, it actually fetches you regular funding. It actually fetches you regular funds. So if you are investing in intellectual property, please be wise. Why? It's because if you don't know what your intellectual property is going to give you back, then there's no point in investing. But
True.
the rule
There's
is
different ways of looking at it, right? Yeah, there's definitely.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
tell
So intellectual property
me,
is just like a mutual fund.
so tell me one thing. So you do the trademark, you do the copyright, and you do it in India. How much does this protection really take care of the international boundaries? Because now with everything online, there's so much of access all over the world. Tell me something about this. How does it work on the international boundaries then?
Okay, so let me put it in simple words. The laws in India in particular is well known for one reason, that we have imbibed many different terminologies, laws, rights, duties, certain aspects of our constitution, directive principles of state policy, everything from other countries. Okay, so in other words, we have replicated the legal system and we have tailor made it as per our Indian requirement. Okay, so I'm just putting it in a layman's term over here.
True.
Same goes with intellectual property. Trademarks, copyright, patent laws, design laws in India have been taken in from WIPO, USPTO, that is United States Patent Trademark Office, World Intellectual Property Organization, European intellectual property bodies. So we have taken a lot of laws and segments from there. So if we have protected our trademark in India, or our copyright in India, or our patent in India, your chances of getting and claiming that protection in other countries improve. It improves really well. And especially in copyrights and patents, I'll start with patents over here. The beauty of patents is, if you have applied for a patent in India and if you have a patent granted in India, if somebody searches in the international market for a patent, they will come across the patent which is there in India. And using this one particular factor, the patent office of that country can object to the other person who is trying to replicate your patent. Okay, but it is always wise to drop an application for a patent or copyright in the countries where you plan to sell your product or service. Same goes for trademark. And the beauty about trademarks is that if tomorrow Zest Transformation is going into the international market, okay, and Zest Transformation wants to get an international trademark done, we have something called as the Madrid Protocol. So India being a part of the Madrid Protocol countries and India being a part of the convention countries, a lot of countries recognize the fact that you have a trademark in India. And the same goes with copyrights also. People recognize that you have a copyright. Same goes for patents, that you have a patent granted application. So where you go for an international copyright or patent or a trademark, your Indian application will form an excellent backbone for filing those applications in other countries. That is the reason why it's always advisable that whatever you want to do, start at home, then you take it outside.
True, true, true. And what about claiming IPR protection on your website?
Hmm. Okay. Now, a
That's
lot of
something that
startups.
everybody does in their business, right? A website is, I think most of the businesses would have them, yeah?
Absolutely. A lot of startups in a country like India, in at least during the COVID period, I have noticed is that they have put in their heart and soul in creating a website for branding and marketing. They have done a lot for the branding marketing of the websites. But how much is your website protected? Now, here is the protection part comes in two ways. One is intellectual property, one is cyber. How intellectual property is because you have creative photographs on your website, you have creative content on your website, you have brand names on your website, you have formulations in tabular columns on your website, you have unique features and structuring on your website. A lot of people tend to copy, a lot of people replicate it, and they place it on their own websites. They just rip it off. They just copy it left, right, and center. You won't be surprised to find websites that probably uses the name Tejaswini Pisal, that probably uses the name Zest Transformation, because they just blindly copy. Then you have your user agreement and privacy policies. People just outrightly copy user agreement privacy policies from other websites, which is a crime. It is a crime in cyber law. Cyber law, you can go to jail for it. So it is always important that first you tailor make the content. Second, you protect the entire content on your website. Now, here is the beauty about it of copywriting your content of the website. The validity of a copyright is your lifetime plus 60 years.
Okay.
So Tejaswini ji, even after I believe you have two beautiful daughters, they will enjoy the fruits of what you have created on that website. Probably your grandchildren will enjoy it. That is how, that is the lifespan of a copyright. Now, you may ask me a second question here. The second question that comes out here is that what if I want to update my website? When you update your website, you can always update your copyright. Okay, and it is not a costly process. People look at 25,000 or 30,000 and they get the scare of their life, but they don't know that this 30,000 is for probably another 100 years. It's an investment of another 100 years. That is why protecting your website is very important, because during this COVID period, our firm has looked close to 100 cases where people came to us saying that we have been sent a notice. I asked them, why did you get a notice? Because we copied the content from another website.
Ah, oh,
That was just 100 cases, and we had more number of cases where people came and said, please protect our website because we found so many websites that are using our content. And surprisingly, even on Amazon, if there's a product based website, let's say if your website is selling certain FMCGs, like, fast moving consumer goods, and if those products are on Amazon, the replica of those products with the description from your website is used on Amazon. We had so many cases. Imagine the amount of loss you are going through if you have not protected your website content.
true, true. And what if the website is in the name of a person? For example, my website is in my own name. So can my own name actually, I know the company is trademarked and all that, but when it comes to a name, how does this really work?
Okay, so we have Dr. Batras. Okay, we have this Balaji Tambe. Okay, then we have Tata, we have Mahindra, we have when you're talking about names, you're asking, right?
No,
So
are you talking? I'm talking about the first name and the last name. Like, for example, if I have Tejaswini Prasad, can that be trademarked?
yes, it can.
It
As
can be.
long as, see, it is, the rule is simple in a trademark. If your name is Tejaswini Pisal, okay, and if you want to trademark Tejaswini Pisal for a service, not for like just saying that I have protected Tejaswini Pisal, now nobody on planet Earth can
Got
own the
it.
name as Tejaswini Pisal. If you're
Okay.
protecting it as a service, because today Tejaswini Pisal, as we know, is a brand name in itself.
So that's
It is a
what
very
I.
big brand name. A lot of people know about it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, because as a name, anybody else could have a similar name. And then if
Exactly.
it is trademark, it's to do with business and the services that is there, right? And not really the name per se. You can't trademark your name that anybody else cannot use my name. It's to do with the business and the services that a person provides, like Dr. Badras or whatever you said. It's more to do with the services that they provide. Okay, that's
Right.
quite interesting and quite a lot of insight around that. Okay, one last question before we actually move into the question answers. We'll have 10 minutes for question answers from people. So once you register, actually there are business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders on this particular group, and a lot of time we are always thinking about profits.
Mhm.
Yeah. So once we register for the IPR, can we make profits out of it? Is this
So I
is
just
this
stated this point before that you can get your money back. Okay. How you get your money back is called as IP strategy or IP portfolio management, or in other words, we call it as IP valuation and portfolio management. So if today's Zest transformation is a trademark, okay, Tejaswini Pisal is a trademark. So in such kind of, like, I have so many friends like who have their trademarks with me. Like I have close to 1,600 trademarks today. So live trademarks, that is. So if Tejaswini Pisal, I want Tejaswini Pisal to make money, I would first advise that since you have a trademark on Zest Transformation, start franchising it. Since you have a trademark, nobody can make money for themselves using the name Zest Transformation. Okay, so that is the franchisee model. The second model that I would work on for Tejaswini Pisal is she has a very unique structure. Like me and Tejaswini ji had a very long conversation on her business product and service, and she has a very unique strategy when it comes to business coaching, when it comes to life coaching, when it comes to entrepreneurship development. Those strategies, if properly represented, if it is protected under intellectual property, anybody who uses that strategy will have to start giving a certain royalty to Tejaswini Pisal. So even if she charges, I'm not exaggerating, even if she charges, let's say 1,000 rupees for every client who, for every client who's benefited by this strategy from a third person. That is, let's say a person comes to Tejaswini, takes the strategy from Tejaswini, uses the Zest transformation strategy or the, like the Zest entrepreneurship strategy to teach somebody or to guide somebody. For every client, even if that person is paying 1,000 rupees to Tejaswini, and if that person has, let's say, close to 10 clients per month, that is 10,000 rupees. So if Tejaswini has invested, let's say, 20,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees on the copyrights, then if every month, if there are so many people, she can make 1 lakh on that copyright itself. She can make close to 1 lakh to 3 lakhs on the trademark itself. This is how you start making money, and this is just the basic strategy I'm giving, because if I give you more strategies, that is my intellectual property.
Well, I know there are business owners and entrepreneurs here and thinking about profit, and when they're putting money, they're looking at every money invested should get back money. So that's why I asked that question. However, we have started getting questions from the participants out here, and I would like to take up this first question that comes from Shweta Poddar. She says, "Can you shed some light on just claiming your domain name versus trademarking it?" I think, this is pretty interesting.
You can see the smile on my face because I really wanted somebody to ask this question, and I actually wanted this question to be addressed, but I'm happy it's coming from our guest. So, first of all, really thanks a lot, Shweta, for this very nice question. So, Shweta, domain names work on the principles of trademarks. Okay. For example, if there is www.baskaranslegal.com, which is my website, or there is www.zesttransformation.com, which is Tejaswini's website, for example. Okay. So she would have bought the domain name, like I have bought the domain name. So where I have bought the domain name and I have a trademark protection also on that name. Like I have a trademark protection on, Tejaswini ji has a trademark protection on Zest Transformation. And for her website, zesttransformation.com or .in, if somebody just changes the spelling, instead of Zest Transformation,